guys, we're back. It's time to go into the winner's match now for this GSL Codex.
That is correct. And it's not who you might expect. It's actually the two Zerg players going up. Curious versus Saxry. One of them will join the other three Zergs in the round of 16. Maybe, in fact, we'll get two Zergs out of Scriptonite. It's definitely a possibility based on these games that we've seen.
And I am looking forward to our losers match, MMA versus SOS. I knew we were going to have that. I just never guessed to be in the losers part of this round robin here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're gonna have to step up and eventually one of them take out one of these Zergs if they want to go through it. But going through each other first. Who do you think actually wins that one? That's kind of an interesting one.
You know, I'm not sure. I would bet that Curious is pretty tired from that last series.
Oh, I mean MMA versus SOS.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'd say SOS.
You think SOS? Okay.
SOS is still playing pretty smart, pretty well. MMA seemed to be a bit off.
He did seem a little bit off. You're right.
I mean,
I agree with that.
I don't trust anything I say right now. After the way these games are turning out, this is a very different day than what I anticipated.
For serious. So what do you think about this match, though? Curious for Saxry.
Like I was saying, I think Curious is probably pretty fatigued from that last best of three. I think Saxry's got a chance. Yeah. But again, it's very tough to call, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I would go with Curious as the winner, but with CVZ, it can be a bit volatile at times if people are willing to take the risks in the build orders. But we'll see how much either of these guys takes the risks. Does one of them hedge their bets a little bit, do safer builds overall?
The map lineup is going to be Expedition Lost, Overgrowth, Iron Fortress.
Oh, that's a pretty big range of maps right there.
Sure.
Expedition Lost, kind of small, has that back ramp that can be broken down and attacked into possibly. Overgrowth, the more standard of the maps, and Iron Fortress, giant 4-player map. I actually really hope this goes to Game 3. Iron Fortress is, that can be a crazy map.
Yeah, that would be fun to have a ZVZ on with these two players.
Yeah, I think so.
Then again, Curious, we've seen him win a lot of ZVZ since he's been here at GSL.
Of course. Well,
ZVZ is a very tricky matchup, you know, very volatile.
Yeah.
So
we've seen him win and lose a lot of matches. We've seen Curious in a lot of matches.
I think, obviously Curious has the stage experience in Korea, but Saxry already knocked somebody who was top 4 in the last GSL. And as already beat a GSL Codex champion.
As you weren't saying, he could be a Royal Roader.
He could be a Royal Roader, as I didn't say.
Yeah. As you absolutely didn't say, he is likely to become the champion of the season.
Well, our game is loaded up, so let's get ready. A ZVZ, Curious against Saxry on the map, Expedition Lost.
What's going on?
I don't know. Something's happened. We don't know what that is.
It's something went wrong with Curious's game for sure, I think.
So I believe we will be restarting this game
I would imagine.
most likely, and then we'll be going into this. So, weird day today.
Yeah. We've had some
SOS loses to Curious.
I'm not too surprised about that second one. I was a little bit surprised about the MMA one because I think he could have played a bit better there. Didn't show the same oomph he showed last season, but to be honest, last season, round of 32, he didn't really play well. He just snuck into the round of 16. Then he played really fantastically from there, but he was kind of crappy in the round of 32 last season, to be honest. And maybe something like that's happening again. I don't know. But, I think Curious, he was an okay guess against SOS.
It would be pretty cool if we did see Curious in a finals of a GSL or actually becoming a champion because he's been around for so long. He's definitely a fixture in the GSL, but he's not anybody I think anyone is talking about winning.
No,
he hasn't
certainly
been
not.
since the beginning, really.
I think there was some eras where Zergs were very whoa, Curious is so good, but he never showed that on stage. He never really showed that in the games that mattered. So
yeah, I mean,
he hasn't really been talked about as a champion.
Especially in the early days of GSL, there were a lot of great players who were saying that Curious was the best guy in practice. But practice does not, match major televised matches like this. So I don't know. Let's see. I mean, you're around for this long. That is the point in time where you do tend to see some kind of transformation, right? It's several years of having that experience, being on stage, practicing over and over and over again for a match. I don't know. Just food for thought there. If he ever did begin to perform better, started to get deeper, that would be a cool story.
Yeah, people focus a lot in StarCraft on the explosive stories like Life. I mean, he came out of nowhere, Royal Roaded, has been dominating ever since. But there's actually more players go a curious route. Well, I guess a route that you could compare it to is Sue, for instance. He was not very good for a really long time.
Yeah.
He was a pro in StarCraft 1 for quite a while.
Winning a tournament and getting second place for a very long time as well.
And then he became one of the best Zergs we ever had. And I mean, the same can be said with a lot of guys, especially that came into StarCraft 2. It's Nesty was always garbage, became one of the biggest champions ever.
He's a lot of times about all the way back in Brood War, by the way.
Yeah, I'm talking for their full career as pros. Yeah. But we definitely see more players just kind of sit at the same level for a while than just hit an area where they're like, oh God, I finally get it.
We got a lot of people who are floating.
Yeah.
And then something happens. I'm not sure. Do we have are they all in the booth still? We haven't been. Oops. Okay, so it was actually a problem with the observer screen. So there's a chance we'll be remaking the game.
I think so.
We'll go into this.
If it was a mistake with the observer screen, Curious might cheese in the first game. That's a possibility, Tasteless. Because I thought maybe something went wrong because you didn't make drones right away, but we'll see.
We actually have a preview PC now over here, which is a nice change.
Yeah.
So we can actually go into the game. We don't use it too much.
First time in years.
Well, we started out with a preview PC, and then we eventually moved to this new studio.
Didn't we have to observe at the very beginning?
Yeah, I was observing.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what you were saying the whole time because I was observing. So you'd say something, and I'd usually be observing and then end up repeating what you said. But we've come a long way here at Gone with the production stuff. It's a pretty smooth operation, so I guess we're going to be bouncing out of this game.
I feel like my grandmother with the observing PC because I'm so used to not casting with it now. I'm just I don't know what to do with this. I make it follow the observer. I'm like, I don't know how to check how many drones have been killed.
Well, I think today so far has been really good. We should have a lot more good games here. Probably one of the best days actually at a round of 32. And again, with GSL Codes the way it is now, basically all the Koreans are back. Pretty much everybody came back to Korea, which even though GSL was always the most prestigious tournament, it was still more fractured. There were a lot of Koreans over in Europe, a lot of Koreans in North America. With all them coming back, this makes it even better than it was before.
Yeah, it's actually really nice to have players like MMA back in here where he's like, oh, I can still do it. I can still hang with everyone. And it's nice to see some of the other players rising up again. Remember Yoda was on track to be the best Terran in the world perhaps at one point. And then he's like, peace out, I'm going to Europe.
Yeah,
and then it's
okay.
a
lot of players.
And he's getting better again.
Divided the world up like pie slices, and the Koreans dominate everywhere. Which I guess you could relate since we were both Brood War guys back in the day. But if there were a bunch of Koreans coming into North America just winning everything, it'd be a pretty
winning
big bummer.
Our one WCG.
Yeah, winning our one WCG.
Are you talking about Last Gosu?
Yeah, nice.
The Korean that came over and won WCG.
That's true. He took that from all of us.
That was pretty sick.
But I mean, imagine that if you had more lands than even WCG back then, and it was being chopped up by even more Koreans. So I don't know. Just it's interesting. Now that we have them all back here, they could all compete.
Yeah. There's still some out there that have kind of acclimated to their regions.
Sure.
Visas
well,
live there
yeah.
and stuff.
Some of them they've lived, in the respective country for a long time. They would prefer to live there, which is totally understandable as well. I'm not sure what the issue is here.
I think we're just remaking. Might have to. Oh, let me see. Actually, they did remake. They just didn't invite me.
Oh, my goodness. Good thing
screw
you joined
that Artosis fella.
That
they were
close.
ready to go and stuff. I got in there skinning my teeth.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll be starting this then soon. And I guess now's a moment to do a shameless plug. Follow me on Instagram. And if you're not following Artosis, don't follow him, unfollow him, and just follow me. I want to beat you in Instagram followers. He started like a year and a half before me.
Did I?
It's my time, Artosis.
I didn't start a year and a half before you.
How long ago did you start?
A year before you.
It's a long time.
Yeah, I'm bad at Instagram, though.
That's okay.
I'm getting better.
It's actually not easy. It takes a little while to get used to all the filters.
I'm bad at taking photos. I just like take a picture of my food. I'm like, this is what this is for, right?
Yeah, there's like a shadow over
just
the
picture
meal
my
and everything.
dog, like yeah. But yeah, check us out there. I am Artosis.
Yeah, and I'm
on
Nick
Instagram.
Tasteless Plot.
Yeah, someone took Artosis, so
Nick Tasteless. You're supposed to do it with me. Ready? Tasteless Plot. Like the song. Okay, we're starting the game. In the upper right, in the red.
Subanon Curious.
Curious always looks like a killer when he's playing this game.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
In the bottom left, in the blue, he is
Mind Sanity Sexery.
Okay. So here we are. And Curious is going for that 8 pull that we could tell he was going for before.
Yeah.
Now, I'm wondering if we're going to see the pull first here from Saxry. I'm actually trying to think like what our protocol is for people leaving games and getting into new games. Because I remember this was a problem a really long time ago, that you could just look at someone's score and know that they didn't make the drones and that they were like early pooling or something. I think that we have. I think we have things in place to prevent that.
I believe we do. Although we rarely ever have hiccups at Golem.
So okay, actually he is going pool first. So maybe I don't know. I'm just saying. Just saying, guys.
Just throwing this out there.
That you definitely can look at the score screen and be like, oh, I've spent 100 more minerals in it. That's weird. We were only making drones. But
well, this means Saxery should be fine.
Certainly.
This is basically the counter to this.
Yeah, it's he's got 5 more drones right now, and he should just be pretty much safe.
So the Lings are coming down now from Curious. And let's see what happens. He might be able to get a forced cancel on the hatch here, but as far as losing drones here, quite unlikely for Saxery.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine. Sometimes what you do is you pull. Like if they are microing around hatches and stuff, you have to pull a few drones with your Lings because they just have a couple more Lings than you. So in that way, it could get messed up. But right now, a lot of damage being put on this hatch. And I think he's actually going to be able to get it with just like a very simple micro around the hatchery type of play. It's not hard to do at all.
Okay, now he's going for the drones here. The drones are coming up now. And Curious is actually full on engaging.
Yeah, you got to use these drones. He can't really let this get killed off.
I'm actually very surprised he didn't just go for the hatch kill. I thought that was for sure what was going to happen.
I thought he would use... See that micro he just did there for a second? Yeah. Sometimes we see Zergs just be like, okay, I can actually kill this and get out with most of my Lings. Because when you have like 8-10 Lings down there, they deal damage pretty quickly. But
kind of an odd play from Curious. I was agreeing with you. The kind of rotating, kind of merry-go-rounding around the hatchery and just starting to hit, move, hit, move, hit, move, hit, move.
Yeah.
But now
he killed a good amount of drones though. He killed 4 drones during that. So
he did.
He brought the drone count a lot closer than what it was. Still, like it was a little bit Saxery favored, but Curious didn't make a hatch. He just went for gas and made some extra drones. So,
Also, I like the play here by Saxery to just go for the wall here, so that if Curious was going to do any kind of follow up, he would just take a little bit longer to hit him.
Yeah, it's pretty smart when you know that you have the advantage on Lings for at least some amount of time, but.
Also, keep in mind, yes, Saxery did lose a few drones back there. He could just remake those drones because he's got 2 hatches. So, I mean, that's 2 production facilities to 1. The hatch for Curious started moments ago, so he's got a ways to go.
Yeah, Saxery's already back in that drone lead. He's making a spine. He did, as you said, knock down those rocks to kind of make it a slightly longer travel distance to attack. And all those things do count towards this, so not looking bad for Saxery now. But yeah,
guys, Saxery might get out of this group first.
It's definitely a possibility.
This is crazy. I mean, he's just doing much better than I expected, at least today. and good for him.
Certainly. I would love for him to just show you how wrong you are and be the Royal Roader. I can't believe you did not say that you would be the Royal Roader. I tried. I tried to let you get that quote.
You gave me that opening, man. You gave me the opening, and I dropped the ball already.
You did, and you wait, and people don't even remember who Life is because Saxery wins 10 GSLs in a row.
Well, we have a Baneling's Nest coming up here, so unless that's for defensive purposes, we could see some more aggression here. Out of Curious.
Yeah.
Sometimes they make that and they just get 1 or 2 Banes to hold up attacks. The drone count pretty significant here, 27 to 36 now.
I don't think he's going to do any sort of Baneling aggression. I do think it's like he's giving a nod to the fact that, as you were saying before, Saxery has a lot more production for a lot longer. So like Saxery, if he just turned on the Ling production, Curious, who has to make some more drones right now to catch up economically, would die unless he gets a Baneling Nest. And he doesn't want to sit there making spines. That doesn't even make sense. So
Roach Warren started here, by the way, and an Evolution Chamber. So Saxery really ramping up with his tech now. And that layer there for Curious is telling us this is going in a completely different direction from where his opponent's taking this game.
Do you think he's going to want to go Mutas?
You know, he could. I guess, sure, why not? Yeah,
it would kind of go with the style he's been playing with. It makes a lot of sense here for him to go Mutas.
Those rocks were also torn down, too, so the Mutas are a little bit more helpful.
That's a really good point.
Counterattack not as strong there.
Yeah, it makes Saxery's attacks on him longer, too. So if he goes for a more mobile unit composition, that kind of plays towards it.
Look at this. Saxery's going to go for the gold base up here. Let's see if Curious actually spots it. Yep, he is going to see it now.
Not going to be able to take it out at the moment.
And this is synced up at the same time the Spire started here. So it's going to be pretty tough now for Curious to try to deny the gold base.
Ooh, good catch. Really good catch right there. Definitely a mistake from Saxery. Well.
Oh my god.
Wow, he's just getting so much down.
That means a lot less larva injects.
That's a pretty big deal.
That's going to be 3. Do you win something when you get the 3rd queen?
Don't forget that he's going Mutas as well, so every time he kills a queen, it's less and less likely that some sort of like Roach Queen all-in can do anything.
Yeah, that's very true. And he can actually come down now and get this hatchery because this is undefended.
Oh, man.
Look at this. Curious.
Playing him like a fiddle at the moment. And yeah, he will get this. He's not gonna pull off this. It doesn't matter if he loses a few lings.
Yeah,
getting the cancel there. Oh my god. And now he's started his 3rd. He's going for Mutas like very shortly here.
And he's got a lot banked up here. It's actually almost 800 Vespian gas.
Now, Saxery absolutely 100% can get a cancel on this 3rd base if that's what he goes for. And Curious continues to add spines into his natural. We've seen him put up several so far. So this is like, he's given him like no good options. Like, do you attack into these spines while the Mutas are making? Do you try to force a cancel over here and not even scare me with damage? In fact, he's been too slow about it now, and 10 Mutas are going to be popping out shortly.
Well, he might be able to force it. I don't know. I mean, 2-base versus 2-base, normally Mutas just win. Especially if you force a cancel like that on the guy who's going Roach Ling. Normally with the guy who's going 3-base against the player who's going Mutas, what he normally does is gets up enough, spore crawlers and queens that the Mutas don't do enough damage, and then he can kind of segue into different tech like Hydras from there. But I don't know. Let's see. Saxery's coming down with more Roaches. He's going to have to back out now that he forced that cancel. Curious does have Ling Muta, which means it's a lot easier to just stop Roaches as they try to run away.
Yeah. Well, the Muta's doing a good job so far here. Burrow movement coming up. That's going to be interesting to see how he tries to utilize that. Of course, does want to cancel this. There are some Hydras on the way, but those 8 Hydras, you have to be very careful how you move them around. You can't let them get away from each other. You can pick them off very quickly with the Mutas. Mobility just completely going to Curious here.
Well, these Mutas could have shimmied over there, but I guess he's going to just come in here right now and just try to get the rest of these queens, and that's not going to work out. Transfuse just too good.
But hey, that could be 7 queens instead. It's 5.
The glass is always half full in an Artosis cast. Well, this is a great play now. He's going to go ahead and tear open these rocks. He's getting his own Roach Ward. Now, there's a supply lead here for Saxery, but it's going to be even bases. Actually, basically is even bases because this hatchery's about to finish.
Yeah, and it's like a roach-based a supply lead, which you always have to take with a grain of salt. At these low supplies, it is very powerful. Like, his army is more powerful right now.
Yeah.
But does it have the type of quality that you need to beat Curious here? Because he's going to continually fly around. It looks like both should be able to get each other's thirds here very easily. And then that leaves us at the 2-base versus 2-base, and that's a little bit harder for to really predict how that's going to go.
Wow, this is kind of funny. Okay, so it will once again be 2-base versus 2-base. The bulk of the army it's pretty impressive right now. Okay, a lot of mutas out here, as you can see for Curious, but the roach count alone. I mean, when you look at it all together, it's about 140, which means the mutas can't really stop the roaches from denying another base again. Now, also important to note is Curious was teching into his own roaches, but he can't really support that as well with just 2 bases. You need 3 bases to crank out roaches, or your roach army is just insufficient. Also, Saxuri does have enough Hydras now that he can't really engage this Death Ball, really. So I think Saxuri basically is taking the lead now, but Curious is very good with the mutas, so let's see what he can do with this.
Yeah, he still has potential because he has so many mutas.
It's not so much about the strategy of going mutas as it is the tactics and how you use them. So
well said.
Let's see, where the game ends up in a little bit here, and that'll depend on Saxuri's execution and Curious's, how he's moving this army. There's a lot of just how they engage each other that you have to keep your eyes peeled for. Now, see, look, he can get these roaches up here. How far along is that hatch, by the way? Is that a?
It's about halfway.
So this should be enough to actually force a cancel here, as we can see. And
but look at the supplies; they are evening out a little bit because we do have that switch in tech from Curious. Actually focusing a little bit more heavily on Zerglings now, even getting that Baneling speed upgrade. So it looks like that may be the way he's decided to win this, is one giant battle where the Banelings get a few good hits and the mutas clean up. Thing is, if you don't have enough anti-air for the mutas, they just win the entire game. The second you don't have enough.
Yeah.
Because it snowballs very quickly.
Well, let's see. Curious coming down now. Not clear here what... Oh, my God, there's nothing here. I thought there were going to be spores. Okay, so he does do a little bit of damage. This does keep him matted down. But again, Curious just running out of time. The gold base being taken means... Hydra specifically can be produced at such an incredible rate. I think Curious is actually gearing up. That is the funniest location for a Baneling's nest I've ever seen. Curious, I believe, is preparing to do a pretty strong attack with these Banelings and hit the 3rd gold base because he basically has to do that, right? Now, we have Infestors coming up here for Saxuri, which means a few Fungals can ruin Curious's day.
Certainly that is the case. And, Hydras, Banelings, Lings, Mutas are all very bad against a good fungal growth hit. And the Hydras, of course, with that ridiculous range, they are all going to get so many pot shots. But here we go. It looks like Curious ready to move in here, trying to hit those Hydras with the Banelings.
Kind of funny when you get to see these Hydras getting split like Marines in a TVZ against Banelings. Well, he did a good amount of damage there. With the main being accessible, as well as the 3rd base. The 2nd base, you pretty much are not going to be hitting with Mutas and Lings and Banelings, but he can try to outmaneuver his opponent here. A drone count is actually superior now for Curious, so with that other base coming up here, it's really going to kick in economically for him. But it's a blue base versus a gold base.
Yeah, and those players with the blue base are going to feel a little bit sad because of it. Good creep spread here. Really, Saxuri with kind of like a death ball, even though we see Curious...
Oh my God!
Well, that is really bad. Okay, another fungal goes down. But actually, he can get out of here with most of this. But he actually decides to just charge in. These speed Banelings just demolishing absolutely everything. And the mutas actually should be able to just clean this up now.
I can't believe that he was not watching those Infestors.
Yeah, that's...
The Infestors were what were supposed to win that game for him.
And that was
the end game plan. Yeah, I would say they would have, for sure.
If he had those with his army and was paying attention, you just fungal everything. If he gets 2 more Fungals on the Mutas and then has 1 for the Banelings coming in, he wins that battle, at least.
Oh, my God.
So,
well, this is one of those games that just ends in the flash of a second.
Yep. GG.
That's it.
Curious takes that game.
It was a good game, but
Well, Curious
don't
really
lose
showed
your
his,
in-game unit comp.
he showed his experience a lot, I think, in that game. Because that was a tough spot for him for quite a bit. And still, he just fought through. He's like, he started to go Roach, and he's like, you know what? No, I got to go Speed Banes here.
Yeah.
And, you know what? I actually need to buy a bunch more mutas because the only way I can win this is by flying around and picking things off. So, well played by Curious.
Wow, Saxery definitely disappointed with that. Could have gotten that 1-0 lead, have been very close to getting out of this group, but I mean, there's really no excuse for not babysitting those infestors. Not at this level of play. Not in Kodas, man.
Those infestors will touch the hot stove every time, Tasteless. You got to baby-proof the house when you have those infestors out.
You do, man. I mean, not much else to say on that one. It would have been a closer game, but yeah, Curious got the infestor assassination pulled off. It worked. We're going to go on to Overgrowth for map number 2 here. Curious, I got to say, it's not been an easy day for him, but right now he's the closest to getting first out of this group.
All right. Well, that would be pretty cool to see him move up.
Yeah, sure.
Obviously, we do get a Zerg into that next round, but Curious definitely someone that he's been in the trenches of Code S and Code A for so long. He is a deserving player for any round of 16 you can make it into.
Yeah, he absolutely is. Well, the map is now loading up, so let's get ready for game number 2 on Overgrowth. Guys, tell your friends to tune in. Curious against Saxery in the winner's match of the final group for the GSL Code S round of 32. In the upper right, in the red.
Subenon Curious.
And in the bottom left here in the blue.
Mind Sanity Saxery.
Now let's not forget that Curious did go for that early pool last game.
Yeah, and let's not forget, Saxery was ahead at points in that game. Like, he played well, right?
Yeah.
I do want to then ask you, Tasteless, and just say the first thing goes to your mind. Okay, Curious is going for a quick pool again, but first thing that comes to your mind with this, out of these two players, which one do you think is more likely to Royal Road?
I gotta say, it would have to be Saxery,
Why?
because he's the only one who can Royal Road.
You got it.
I got it.
That's why I'm like, just say the first thing comes to your mind. Why don't you just blurt something out and be like, you're dumb, and then I push you over the balcony. That's what I was going to do.
That's so mean.
I know.
Then I would fall to my death, and then you have to solo cast, which I know you hate to do.
I do hate to do that.
Yeah, everybody hates a solo cast.
Like, and then Moonglade comes out from behind the couch. He's like,
It's
no,
time,
mate, we had this plan.
We had this plan all along, mate. Okay,
I'm like, who's a drop bear now? It's like, drop you off the balcony.
Dude, all right, I have to tell you something.
Okay.
And I can't unsee it. You know the man with no face, the man who's no one in Game of Thrones?
Yes.
That looks so much like Moonglade.
Well, it's one of his many faces, yeah.
Yeah, that is.
He's too clean-shaven to be Moonglade. Moonglade's never been clean-shaven his whole life. He was born with
You give
stubble.
him the nicest razor. Oh, it says, can I get crackers with easy cheese? You could this time around with the builds that Curious is doing.
Yeah, seriously.
With
And
the
don't worry,
Banelings
SOS is still here, so.
Yeah. Moonglade looks like the man with no face, man, or no, he's no one.
That's really mean.
I don't know, man. I think that's actually that's a great character in the show.
Moonglade is no one. I'm like, you're nobody too, Tasteless.
Artosis won't roll with my jokes today, guys. I have nothing to do. Now let's see how these links do as they come in here. This is, he doesn't have lings out yet, but it's, a good player can keep pretty much all the drones alive if they micro this right.
Yeah, it's let's see how he ends up with this. He is making a couple Banes. I like how he's made the Banes a little bit later.
Yeah.
A lot of times people just run right in, make like half these into Banes, but then can't get as much pressure on with the Lings.
So we're going to see that come in here, and it's really going to come down to splitting, but Curious's micro is pretty good. Oh, my God.
Oh, boy.
And he's on the run, but already some drones are being picked off here. Oh, my God. Okay, no, he could have killed those three, but didn't. He opted not to. He
Good
did
Baneling
detonate
hit.
that one.
Baneling hitting 4 Lings, pretty good. Still trying to pull these drones away.
I think he actually has pulled this off
Yeah.
successfully. Why are those Lings attacking the pool, though?
Well, he's making a couple more Banes up here.
And the funny thing is that he's gotten so many lings with these Banelings that even though the Banelings were there to kill the drones, it sort of worked the other way anyways. There's now enough lings to do all this damage. I believe this is one of the first times we've seen this strategy really work.
Yeah.
Oh!
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good hit. Oh,
he's not going to do it?
That would have been. Well, that's a good hit.
Well, that's an even better hit.
Well, that's.
Okay, that does it.
That's pretty much
Short
it.
Short
right
game,
there.
GG.
And,
Curious does the build order win. And yes, you can have crackers with that cheese, my friend in the studio, with builds like that.
Some Baneling spread to go on it. That was a quick one right there. It's been a pretty long night so far, but Curious just rocketing through to that round of 16.
Yeah, guys, Curious gets out first. Congrats to him. And that will do it for our winners match. Now, Sexry's had a great day, though, so far. And he's not out of this yet. He'll be in our final best of 5. Now, in a weird twist of fate, we have for our losers match, MMA against SOS. That is unexpected, but it's definitely going to be a great game. Either MMA or SOS, as weird as it sounds to say, will be, well, one of them will be the first player to be eliminated today here in the final day of the last group for the round of 32.
Yeah, and this is where Curious's face turns into Moonglade's face.
Yeah.
Because he can take any face.
That's true.
I didn't even notice.
It's true, man. I also I went to the sauna with Moonglade not long ago, and he definitely has the look of an attractive cult leader when you bring him to the sauna.
Yeah.
The hair comes down.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We'll continue more on that thought after this short break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back with the losers match here in today's GSL Code S. No, we have an interview. I was testing you. Careful. We're going to go to an interview now with the guy who gets out first today.
Back up.
Back up, guys.
We have an interview still.
Not so fast.
자, 오늘 마지막 조, 32강 마지막 조의 1위 진출자. 자, 오늘 정말 기쁘실 것 같은데요. 수배는 이원표
So this is our
선수
first player
만나보겠습니다.
to advance
축하드립니다.
today into the round of 32. It's Curious.
와,
Congratulations.
오늘
Curious says thank you.
혹시 영장 투혼이었나요?
네, 한 달밖에 안 남았는데
You said this Code S matters a lot to you, and you're able to advance to the round of
어떻게
16.
보면은
Tell us about
좀
this.
쉽게 올라간 느낌인데
You know, today was easier than I expected today. It's been a long time since I've advanced to the round of 16, so I'm very happy.
후반에 정말 강하시네요. 오늘 김유진 선수와의 경기 정말 끝까지 집중력 돋보였습니다. 김유진 선수와의 난전
You went to a
어떠셨어요?
long match in that macro match there against SOS. Tell us about that.
상황이 한 번도 안 나와가지고
네.
In practice, I didn't face any situations that I did with SOS.
네.
그래서
So I was a bit surprised with
그래서 상황
SOS, the
판단이
strats he
좀
chose,
정확하게 안
and he went for an
돼가지고
all-in in that last game.
유리했다고 하는데 좀
I didn't really know what his plan was,
끌게 된
actually.
느낌이 있지 않나 해서
That
그
was one
부분은
of the reasons
아쉽고
why I ended up playing really
근데
defensive and
서브전
playing it safe.
할때
And that's
첫
basically why I
세트를
went for so
1대에서
long.
치고 시작했었는데
네.
오늘 그
In the
경기 이기고
CBC, I lost
나서
the
따라준다고
middle match.
느꼈어요.
Or the
근데
first.
오늘 사실 매 세트에서
When I-
상대들이 좀 빌드들을 잘
Yeah, I thought the luck was on my side
초반
today.
시작 빌드에서는 살짝 밀리는 감이 있었거든요. 김유진 선수도 아예 1세트도 이관문 광전사 러시였잖아요. 근데 거기서 근성을 봤습니다.
So in the first set, SOS went for 2 gateway rush.
그래서 굉장히 초반부터 그 근성 있는
And then
모습 보기
you went for
좋았는데
the Ling Rush to
그때부터
attack his main
굉장히
base.
포기하지 않는 모습 좋았어요. 어떠셨어요?
그때 그
Tell us about that.
처음에 노스포 그냥 3부화장 멀티를 하려고 하다가 그리고 뭐 혹시나 그 광자포 시 정도는 하지 않을 수도 있을 않을까 해서
I expected a cannon rush actually, so
네,
I was
그런데 갑자기
totally not ready for a
사이먼에서
gateway rush. I went for a 16
듣도
pool
못한
and
곳에도 질럿이 나와가지고
because it was
좀 많이
a 4-player
당황했었어요.
map.
오늘 인터뷰에서
I just was so caught off guard by that when I saw the Zealots come into my main.
이원표 선수의 예상을 더 상회하는
네, 훨씬 뛰어넘더라고요.
네. 하지만 거기서 또 이원표 선수의 근성을 잘 받고
So, yeah, I mean,
경기를
that's just SOS for
마무리했습니다.
you.
근데 오늘 전반적으로 경기력 마음에 드세요?
일단 근데 프로토스전이
Were you satisfied with your performance
패치
today?
전에는 제가 그래도 분석은 좀 잘 썼던 것 같은데 패치되고
Against
나서는
Protoss,
뭐
I used
제가
Swarm
토스에
Host
남는 게
before the
아무것도
patch,
없더라고요.
but after the patch,
좀-
I didn't really have any units
좀
that I could
16강에서
depend on.
만약에 또 만나야 될 수도 있는데 그렇게 되면
If I have to go up against a Brothers player in the round of 16, I think I'll have to prepare more
오늘
thoroughly,
경기에서 살짝
especially
보여지는
in
모습에서는
the CDP.
무리군주를 좀 선택을 하고 계신 게 아닌가.
네.
Would you
바드라로
consider just using Broodlords as you showed us today instead of Swarmhouse?
네, 저한테는 안 보여서 놀이공주를 어쩔 수 없이 택했던 것 같아요.
So, well, when you use Broodlords, it's actually much harder to end the match quickly, and it takes a long time to wrap the map up. So I'll have to see
자, 조지명
if,
씨도
you know, how I end up using them in the round of 16.
되게 오랜만에 올라가서 좀 제가
It's been a long time since I've been into the group selections. I'm actually nervous already about the group
딱히 별
selection.
생각 안 하고 그냥 편하게 가려고요.
네.
원래 그런 게 좀
I'm just going to try to not think about
편한
it too
분위기일
much
때
and
제
have a healthy
내면에 있는
mindset going into
자연스럽게
it.
나오는 것 같더라고요.
네.
그래서 딱히 그냥 생각은 안
I
하고.
know that a lot of fans are expecting some funny comments
만들어드릴게요.
because I tend to make a lot of jokes when I am in the
네,
group
이호표
selection.
선수
But I'm not going to
군대
think
가시기
ahead.
전에
I'm just going to go into
저희도
it.
진심으로
clear
좋은
my
성적
mind. Maybe I'll be funny, maybe I won't be.
바라고 있는데요. 자, 팬분들께 오늘 앞으로 가고
Any
들려주시기
final
바랍니다.
comments to your fans?
제가 참 정말 오랜만에 이제 참 16강도 어렵게 올라가게 됐는데 지금
I haven't been to the round of 16 in a long time, guys.
스페누 이게
Now
팀
that I'm
네이밍 스폰 되고
I'm
나서도
on Team Sibenu.
분위기가 정말 좋거든요.
Our atmosphere at the team house has
너무
really
좋아요.
changed for the positive.
그래서 좀 후원을 결정해 주신 저희 황효진 대표님께도 정말
So he
진심으로
wants to thank
감사드리고
the CEO of Sibenu for supporting
제가
his team.
요번에 좀 한번 그래도 뭐 어떻게 보면 얼마 남지 않았으니까
And
정말
I
집중해서
also have to be
정말 열심히
entering
해보겠습니다.
the military soon. So there's not a lot of code S's left for me.
뭐 최지성
So
선수
I want to make a
다
splash in this code
접었었는데
S.
저희가 한번 기대를 해보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 1위 진출 다시 한번 축하드립니다.
Well, that's going to do it for our interview with Curious.
자, 이렇게 오늘 32강의 마지막
And
조에서
I
1위
forgot about that. He hasn't done his compulsory military service.
Yeah.
For those of you that
Most
don't know,
of the pros
most,
haven't. Yeah.
yeah, all able-bodied Korean men have to have 2 years of military service. So that usually means the end of your pro
Like
gaming career.
99% of the time.
Yeah, you don't really come back after grinding it out in the military for 2 years.
No.
So, you know, best of luck to him here in this Code S. Hopefully he gets farther than he's ever been
That'd be
before.
nice.
We're going
That'd
to
be
go to a
nice.
short break. When we return, the losers match, MMA against SOS.